I'm in the northeastern part of Nepal on a week-long trek of Langtang Valley. The person walking in front of me is my guide, Gautam Babu. I met him at a travel agency in Thailand in Kathmandu. Guides are now mandatory on all trails in Nepal since April 2023. Trek starts at the small town called Syabru Besi. And this is where I'm headed. Kyangjin Re. This area is part of Langtang National Park. It's a protected region and provides habitat to endangered animals such as musk deer, Himalayan tahar, black bear, goral, and the elusive snow leopard. After crossing a suspension bridge and passing through a thicket of trees, we came across this 1 to 2 kilometer long stretch of road built to support an under construction hydel power project on the Langtang River. Hydel projects like this generate the lion's share of electricity in Nepal.
Poiro means landslide. From here to until the Poiro, 45 minutes up.
Okay. Our first stop was Dowan, where the Langtang River meets the Trishuli River from Tibet. Okay.
You can drink a tea, coffee, drink water, it will be better.
Yeah. After having a cup of tea, we headed towards another beautiful hamlet called Pyro. This place was very popular with tourists until a few years ago for its now defunct hot spring. Okay.
Yeah.
For some unknown reason, the hot spring was causing skin burns and rashes, which is why both tourists and locals avoid it now. Many trekkers stop here to soak in the scenic view of the river. There's a shop here that sells colorful woolen caps and gloves. most difficult part of the first day's trek was from our next stop, Bamboo, to Lama Hotel. It involved steep climbs and took us another 2 hours and 30 minutes to reach. The most difficult part of the first day's trek was from our next stop, Bamboo, to Lama Hotel. It involved steep climbs and took us another 2 hours and 30 minutes to reach. The trail between Bamboo to Lama Hotel goes through dense forests. It was filled with white langurs leaping between trees and rocks and eyeing passing trekkers with wary glances. On the other side of the river, Gautam pointed out a nest of large beehives clinging to the rocky mountain ledge. While honey collection wasn't happening today, it's common for locals to brave the heights and reap the sweet rewards. On the way to Lama Hotel, we also came across a small memorial board for an Israeli trekker or Ashraf, who died here in 2015 in one of the most devastating earthquakes in Nepal in the last decade. We have reached Lama Hotel. It's a quiet hamlet with 8 to 10 tea houses. Most of these tea houses have shared rooms which are quite basic but very affordable. Since this part of Langtang Valley is cloaked in dense forests, we want to not venture out at night as wild bears often roam freely during these hours in search of food. First day of any trek feels more challenging and you feel like going back rather than going further. It's amazing how good food and a night's sleep can alter that sentiment completely. I had Sherpa stew for dinner. It was a thick soup with chunks of potatoes and vegetables. It was quite nourishing. We started around 8 from Lama Hotel and within an hour passed this beautiful riverside spot. The air here was chillier than Lama Hotel as it was more open. Though this place has only one or two tea houses, it is perfect for people seeking something quieter than Lama Hotel. And to be honest, if I had known about it before, I would have preferred to stay here. It is also a good spot for bird watching, according to Gautam. Since this area comes under a national park, cutting trees is strictly prohibited. However, locals are allowed to take down dead trees and use wood for fuel and other purposes. After an hour from the riverside, the dense tree line started to recede and the forest cover gave way to vast open meadows. Around 11, we reached Gora Tabela, where tourists are required to stop and show their permits to forest officials. After Gora Tabela, we frequently came across yaks grazing peacefully while herds of wild horses roamed freely. We stopped briefly at Thangshap for lunch, and I ordered fried potatoes. The food was incredible, but the portion, as usual, was huge. Though finishing the enormous, nourishing meal felt like an adventure in itself, it provided the much needed energy for the final 2-hour push to Langtang village.
this, and avalanche is coming, all people is disappeared.
This
All
was an army
houses.
camp.
Yeah.
This was an army camp.
Army camp also before here.
How many died? 500.
It's more than 500 people.
Okay.
Even many tourists also as well. Local people, too much local people.
Gautam was talking about the strong earthquake in 2015 that wiped out several villages including Langtang and Kyangjin. More than 500 people including locals, guides, tourists and army personnel manning the Nepal-Tibet border died in this disaster. We came across several remnants of that disaster, like rubble from old buildings and army posts, or memorials like the one dedicated to Ashraf that we saw between Bamboo and Lama Hotel. We reached Langtang village around 3 pm. From here you can see the entire Langtang range. Since January is an off season, there were not many tourists or trekkers on the route, so anyone you came across seemed more or less familiar and was either going up or down. I was excited to find a bakery shop at Langtang, but it was closed considering there were not many tourists to buy this stuff. This is a Tibetan bread. It's fluffy and eaten with aloo chana, which is a staple breakfast among locals here. Food prices are quite high on any treks in Nepal, and Langtang is no different. It's because the rations and raw material have to be carried up the hill on the back of mules from neighboring towns and villages. Some items like potato are grown locally. You can also order milk products from Yak like curd, butter and cheese. After we left Langtang village, we came across this long wall crafted from countless stones piled up on top of each other. This wall is called Mane Wall, and each stone is intricately carved with Buddhist mantras. third day's trek was going to be the shortest. Within 45 minutes, we passed a small village called Mundu, and from Mundu, it took us another 1 hour 45 minutes to reach Kyangjin village. This part of the trail was full of small gompas, walls, and stones carved with Buddhist mantras. Kyangjin was much colder than any other place we had stayed before. The water here was freezing cold and the temperature at night dipped to -10. This is Noori. She is only 5 months old. She lost her mother during childbirth. The tea house we were staying in fed and took care of Noori. Though months away from the majestic physique yaks are known for, Noori embodies the spirit of a Langtang yak. These creatures are the lifeblood of these villages, providing wool, milk, and even meat. Kyangjin or Kyangjin Khurka is the last village in the Langtang Valley. Most trekkers stay here for a day or two and then head back. The more adventurous ones venture further to climb peaks like the Kyangjin Re, which is 4,700 meters high, or the Cherkore, which is 5,300 meters high. For those looking to do some mountaineering, there is Yala Peak, which is around 5,700 meters. The highest peak in this region is Langtang Lirung, which is 7,300 meters. We have to go there. We have to go there. Climbing the Kyangjin Re peak or Cherkore is not easy. Cherkore trek is quite difficult and treacherous. Since it's also higher, after a point I started getting headache. Gautam said as long as it's on the back side of the head, it's nothing to worry about. He suggested that I keep drinking water. We also carried some chocolates and eggs for the trek. Cherkore Peak is now 1 hour away. Also, after 1 pm, the wind started to blow harder, making the climb even more difficult. It is important to start early as it can take over 5 hours to reach the top. The climb in many places is slippery and dangerous. Gautam was very helpful and showed me these yak trails, which though steep were less risky. Langtang is one of the most scenic places in Nepal. It also felt more difficult than the Annapurna base camp trek, which takes almost the same amount of time. Descent was a lot easier here as compared to ABC, which was rocky and hard on the knees. During peak season, Langtang gets very crowded. Getting rooms in tea houses can become difficult. December-January is one of the best months to do this trek, if you can withstand the cold.
Sometime trekking, sometime rafting, sometime trekking, sometime rafting,
Yes.